Good afternoon, and welcome back to this second day of NukeFest. We hope you enjoyed the sessions yesterday. We're very much looking forward to hearing from U.S. Undersecretary for Defense Colin Powell in a little while. But first, it is our honor to present the Thérèse Delpech Memorial Award. At each conference, we present this award to honor Thérèse Delpech, a strategic thinker, writer, and longtime advisor to the French government. Thérèse was known to many for her intellectual contributions to the field, but the primary reason we honor her is for her tireless service to the broader non-governmental community of nuclear policy professionals. Nominations for the award can be made by anyone, anywhere in the world, and in any capacity related to nuclear policy. A committee comprised of experts from around the world and Carnegie staff evaluates the nominations that come in. And in selecting an awardee, the committee looks beyond published works and other resume highlights to consider less visible aspects of nominees' service to the community, such as mentoring, constructively critiquing the work of others, building networks, and enhancing diversity, equity, and inclusion. These activities, often unseen, time-consuming, and in some cases unheralded, aid the community as a whole in its efforts to reduce nuclear dangers. In prior conferences, the award was presented to Linton Brooks, Michael Crapon, Catherine Kelleher, and Harold Muller, all of whom have similarly contributed to sustaining this community. This coming March, we'll open the nominations for the award to be given at our next in-person conference in October of 2022. Now, to present the award to this year's recipient, I am pleased to invite to the stage Sarah Bidgood, Director of the Eurasia Nonproliferation Program at the James Martin Center for Nonproliferation Studies in Monterey, California. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you so much, Toby. Hello, everyone. And thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the giving of this prestigious and important award. As you've indicated in your opening remarks, the Thérèse Delpech Memorial Award recognizes exceptional service in our field, both intellectually, but as you noted, specifically as it relates to the time-consuming and often unrecognized work that it takes to sustain and strengthen our community. And this year's recipient, to me, exemplifies both of these characteristics. He is an internationally recognized authority on nuclear nonproliferation, on issues ranging from US-Russia cooperation on nuclear issues to nuclear terrorism to the Non-Proliferation Treaty itself. He's also a tireless champion of education and training in the field of nonproliferation, having served on the group of governmental experts who wrote the landmark United Nations study on disarmament and nonproliferation education in 2002. And it's really this last point that I want to dwell on here because this year's recipient has truly dedicated his life to educating, sustaining, and replenishing our community with critical thinkers who are prepared to take on the most challenging tasks facing our world today. Guided by the belief that it's not what you think, but how you think, he has spent countless hours devising innovative approaches to nonproliferation, education, and training throughout his long and distinguished career. These include his pioneering use of simulations in the classroom to teach students how nuclear diplomacy works in practice, and also to impart the essential importance of empathy and trust in ensuring that these efforts succeed. They also include the creation and sustenance of diverse networks of experts within our field through workshops, semester-long training programs, or even in some cases entire degree programs to ensure that they emerge with the skills to do the difficult work of nonproliferation and disarmament, but also that they have the friends and partners with whom to do it. There's so much more that I could say here, but what I really want to emphasize in my short time is that this year's recipient of this award has touched the lives of thousands within the WMD nonproliferation and disarmament community. His friendship, personal mentorship, and a steadfast belief in championing the next generation have enabled him to build a network of nonproliferation specialists, lovingly called the Monterey Mafia, that comprises leaders in the field the world over. Through this work in particular, he has made major contributions to reducing nuclear dangers. And I can say all of this with confidence and in closing because I am a product of this incredible dedication to the next generation. Without this year's award recipient, I can assure you that I wouldn't be in the field today, and I know that I'm just one of countless others for whom this is the case. And so it is with tremendous personal gratitude that I announce that the recipient of the 2021 Thérèse Delpech Memorial Award is Professor Bill Potter. Bill, thank you so much for all that you have done for this field and congratulations on this incredibly well-deserved honor. I'm sorry that I can't present it to you in person, even though we're just down the hall from one another here at CNS, but I know you have it, and so I'll turn the floor over to you now for your remarks. Thanks.
Thank you, Carnegie. Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Sarah. And most of all, thank you, Thérèse, who was one of my dearest friends over a span of decades, in addition to being my wife's closest friend. It's an extraordinary honor to be linked to her as a recipient of the Thérèse Delpech Memorial Award. That said, it's very hard for me to speak of Thérèse in the past tense, as she remains such an important part of my personal and professional life. To many, she appeared to be a force of nature and a beacon of courage, which was the case, but she also was an extremely sensitive, loving, and vulnerable individual. She was equally at home in Greek philosophy, Russian literature, British naval history, nuclear deterrence, and the NPT review process. As some of you may recall from past Carnegie conferences, pity the poor soul who dared to cross swords with her on any of these and many other subjects. She also was steadfast in her beliefs, regardless of their consequences, and for me, she personified the meaning of integrity, generosity, and goodness. I was fortunate to observe these traits during many days with her in Paris, Geneva, Washington, Stockholm, New York, Monterey, and other cities. It was fascinating, for example, to observe her in action as the chair of the UN Secretary General's Advisory Board on Disarmament, on which I also served. She simply would not tolerate the long-winded and often shallow remarks of many of the assembled diplomats and experts. Her solution was to bring her alarm clock to the meetings and to set it for 3 minutes sharp, regardless of who was speaking. Indeed, she embraced the wisdom often attributed to George Bernard Shaw, who allegedly told one newly minted member of the Royal Academy that if you only have 5 minutes to tell the world everything you know, speak slowly. Following that advice myself and with Toby's encouragement, I won't bore you with my views of the current international nonproliferation scene, the general state of disarray and polarization in the world, and my particular alarm about the growing risk of crisis escalation and nuclear weapons use due to the deterioration of US-Russian relations, the loss of nearly all respect, trust, and empathy on the part of our two countries' decision makers, and their misguided belief that somehow technology will be their salvation. I would simply note that if I see a sliver of hope on the horizon, it's due to the young students I'm privileged to encounter on an almost daily basis. I've had literally thousands of them over the years, hundreds of whom have pursued careers in the nonproliferation field in the US and abroad, and many of whom I suspect are attending this conference today. It is this next generation of specialists who are not wedded to old ways of doing things, are not consumed by cynicism, but are imbued with great energy and idealism, who occasionally who always give me hope and occasionally allow me to sleep at night. My extraordinary wife, Anna Vasilyeva, often is quipped that I am married first and foremost to nonproliferation. If so, it's been a long, rewarding, and passionate marriage, and one that has generated many progeny. Let me conclude by paying tribute to Thérèse, whose courage, integrity, and humanity were unparalleled. I've been told that she was referred to by her colleagues at the French Atomic Energy Commission as Joan of Arc, a moniker that fit her well. I believe that were she with us today, she would remind us of the powerful words of the German pastor Martin Niemöller, who refused to be silenced by the Nazis. Niemöller lamented that they came first for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Catholic. Then they came for me, and by that time, there was no one left to speak up. Thérèse was fearless in speaking up for fundamental principles of decency, human rights, and the rule of law. She has been and remains a role model for me, and I hope for many of you. Again, thank you so much for this wonderful honor. I hope to see you all soon in person.
Congratulations, Bill, and thank you for all that you have done, especially in building a pipeline of experts that benefits the work of governments and non-governmental institutions alike around the world. And indeed, I wish we could all be in person to present you this award and to let many of your colleagues and progeny, as you call them, to help celebrate you. We look forward to perhaps getting together when we have our next in-person conference in October 2022 and can have a gathering then. Now, we'll have a brief break here as we prepare to bring Colin Cowell to the stage, which will be at 2:10 p.m. Eastern Time. In order to make the conference platform work, I suggest that all of you go back to the reception area when I am done speaking and then come back to the stage so that you don't get a break in coverage. We'll see you back all here momentarily.